Welcome to Adult Education and Family Literacy Week and the Command Center, hosted by the Coalition on Adult Basic Education.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Command Center here in Washington, D.C. This is Don Finn. I am the past president of the Coalition on Adult Basic Education, and we welcome you back to the Command Center here in D.C. during Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. And boy, what a great day we have had so far. Taking the helm here just a little bit from Jeffrey Abramowitz, who has done an awesome job. I've got all his equipment here, and I'm afraid to touch anything. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to bring in our guest. Here, Patrick Brown. Patrick, how are you, sir?
I'm great. It's great to be on the deck of the Enterprise at the Command Center.
Well, we are certainly glad to have you here, and I would imagine that probably the modern enterprise would have generated or had originated from Michigan, maybe Detroit or something.
I hope, in the engine capital of the world, right?
A little shout out. Hey, it's so good to see you, Patrick. Of course, you and I, we're not strangers to one another. We've seen each other at the conference and have had an opportunity to work on different things, and so really happy to have you here. So let's go ahead, Patrick. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement in adult ed.
Well, thank you, Don. I'm so happy to be here on behalf of Michigan and the Michigan Adult Community and Alternative Education Association. I'm Patrick Brown. I'm the executive director of our state association. So my work in Michigan leads me to really help with a lot of the professional development, public policy, research, and advocacy, all the way from early childhood to adult skill building. So this is an important week for us. And our association is doing so much in our state to really affect those causes in both the education and the workforce development space. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, that's great, and we are happy to have you here, Patrick. And you have done so many good things there in your role as executive director in Michigan. So let me ask you the first question here. You've already told us a little bit about your role in adult ed. So why are you excited about your work in the field?
Well, I got my start in adult education on the literacy side, in fact, and worked at a literacy center nonprofit in the city of Detroit. And from that time, I've really built my career around really wanting to help those on the margins of our society, those that need extra assistance or help by no fault of their own, and really the set of circumstances that have led them perhaps to those situations and how we can bring them back into the fold and help them prosper. So that trajectory has afforded me this great opportunity, this great career. I never knew or thought that I would go into adult education or be in this line of work, but it's been so rewarding for me, not only to, on an individual basis, help others, but to build that camaraderie and that community also with the professionals in this field. Right. There are so many dedicated people that have given, their lives to working in this profession and to expanding the role that it has within our society, both in the workforce space, the post-secondary access space, the education space. So that's what gets me excited, is just to see those small wins on a daily basis that we all know and love when we work in this field, but also the bigger picture as well, is that we're really affecting change. And we know what the return on investment is, but there's a greater return on investment that we still have yet to see, just because of the impact of the work that we do.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, Patrick, you really raised a great point, no doubt about it, that I don't know anybody in the third grade when they're talking about careers that say, I want to be an adult educator, right? So many of us seem to come into this space through some sort of a side door and just absolutely fall in love with the field and really seeing adults succeed. So thank you for your contributions there. And boy, again, you've just come up in the ranks there and really providing some great leadership through your organization in Michigan. So let me ask you this then, along that line, what are some of the accomplishments that you're proud of or that you're working on that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I can say on a personal note that I've had a lot of great mentors during my time in adult education. And more broadly now, the work that we do is really with a team. We have a team of dedicated professionals around the state that are doing the work day in and day out. And especially for our association, we have a volunteer board. That's always our third employee, I say, is our volunteer board. They're unpaid, but they are our third employee, helping us to affect change and move things forward. And some of the things that I'm most proud of is that we were able to transition into a full-time executive director position within our association. That took many years of planning and dedication on behalf of previous boards and numerous boards of our association, but also expanding the involvement and engagement of adult skill building and the lens of adult skill building to other partnerships around the state. We've increased our partnerships with our workforce development partners, with the community college partners, even in spaces that are not typically tied to education, but are important to the populations we serve. Working with other community-based organizations like the Homeless Association of Michigan, working with others like ensuring equitable access to healthcare resources, transportation resources, those kinds of things that are often on the ancillary space. And because of that leadership and dedication that we've had with our board, we've been able to expand those partnerships and to do those kinds of things. Other things that we're proud of is that now we offer a scholarship for adult education graduates every year. That's a new investment that we'll be able to do and trying to give back to these communities and give back to learners who still need assistance as they transition out of the adult education system into their next stage or into their next goal. And so we've been excited to be able to do that. We've also increased our capacity to provide professional development. That's, as you know, Don, there's almost like not enough professional development to go around in the world of adult education and family literacy. So being able to do that and to partner with COABE and to be up to date on trends and to really dial into the professional aspect of our field and our profession and be able to share those resources and able to leverage those. I've been very proud that we've been able to do that, not only increase the quantity, but ensure that there's quality there. And that is, I think, a really positive thing and a positive aspect for our field.
Absolutely, and Patrick, I will say that we do appreciate the work that you have done there, and what a wonderful opportunity to leverage partnerships and also to give back through scholarships for students. That's just outstanding. And I will say too, and I'd like for you to share just a little bit about what you have done, what your organization has done in Michigan as far as AEFL Week, because we've seen some of your stuff and it's quite impressive. So please tell us a little bit about what you have done to elevate AEFL Week and maybe how you went about doing that.
Well, this would be a good reminder for me to let anyone know in Michigan, if you're listening, that there are wonderful things for you to be engaged with to be able to take part in this week. One of first is obviously accessing all the resources that COABE has. We would not be able to do what we do without that direction, the leadership, and the cultivation of resources there. But this week is a busy week for us. We've got a proclamation from the governor that's going to be coming out very shortly. So we're very excited about that. I am also participating in the Michigan School Administrators Conference, which will have a lot of the leaders from our state and the education realm and education space and presenting on the importance of adult education. We're also participating in the Invest in the Midwest virtual rally, joining some of our other partners in the Midwest region tomorrow to talk about the importance of adult education, particularly in our Midwestern states, the economic impact, the social impact. And then this week we also have within our association, because we just wanted to add more things to the list, we've got a couple of our programs that are having actually galas or raising awareness through events. And so one of our literacy centers has an event on Thursday night that I'll be participating in. It's a spelling bee, actually. And so I'm hoping I've been practicing my spelling words here throughout the course of the week. And then Friday, we actually have a new director's training. So anyone who's new to our association and new to the field of adult education in Michigan will be attending our new to adult webinar series on kicking off on Friday. And we're excited about that. We thought it was a good week. It was a busy week, but it's a poignant week to kind of mark that. And it's a good grounding week for those new folks in our state to kind of get that perspective and to carry that enthusiasm forward throughout the week. We've got numerous legislative events happening. We've got numerous partners that are meeting with their legislators and both virtually and in person throughout the state. And we're going to be very active on social media this week with the larger COABE network. And so, yeah, we're excited.
Well, that's great. And I will say, too, just a little bit about Invest in the Midwest. We are hoping to actually have some live on scene, from the scene, if you will, reporting from that event tomorrow. So we're really looking forward to that and appreciate your participation in that. Yeah, you've got a pretty full agenda for sure. But I think that, having a focused week like this, along with a governor's proclamation and even bringing in school administrators and so on, is a wonderful way to, I guess, evangelize, for lack of a better term, for the great things that are happening in adult education and really the value of adult education. So thank you for that.
Can I add one more thing, John, really quick?
Absolutely, please do.
One more thing is that we've really encouraged our local providers. Sometimes this advocacy work and a lot of the networking opportunities, you don't know where to start. And so we've really encouraged our local providers just to reach out to their community partners, even the ones that they think know about them and the work that they do, to really just remind them that they're here, they're open, either in person or virtually, and they're providing a lot of different programming opportunities. It's a great time as we turn back to the fall setting. It's a typical time for when a lot of our program is ramping up and more robust. And we just encourage them to use this week as an opportunity to re-engage with partners that they've had for a while in a new way, or to start new conversations with new people in a simple way of, this is who we are, this is what we do, and we want to partner with you. And I that has been really rewarding, I think, and a good place for people to start.
And so let me ask you this, and just to keep the flow going with the legislative types of things, what message would you, or if there's one thing that legislators should know, one message about adult education, what would that be?
It sounds cliche, but adult education really is the linchpin, and I think the solution to many of the societal issues that we're facing within our culture, whether it's around social justice, whether it's around poverty reduction, whether it's around increasing equity, whether it's around access to affordable health care or to education. Having a populace that has access to resources and is utilizing and leveraging some of our existing systems, and able to propel themselves from one economic status to another, right, and to increase their own literacy and their own overall well-being, as well as their children's, is really, really powerful and poignant. And so it sounds grandiose, but it works, and it's important that we articulate that. And I think that if there was significant investments in those areas, and that's what our message has been, is that we need to look at this as a place to invest, because it connects and touches upon so many other facets of issues that we're trying to solve. And this is a place that we know we can work with, and that we know we can start. So that's my message this week. And I think that that's the message that we've been trying to carry forward with COABE and with all the members in Michigan.
Yeah, and that is a great message, absolutely. And I can tell you that one of the things that I have said as well, when meeting with legislators, legislative aides, and so on, is that adult education can truly, truly change the path of a family tree and of a family legacy. It's just amazing the impact, the positive impact it can have, not only in families, but then communities and so on. So let me ask you this, kind of a fun question. I know that Jeff Abramowitz, who's done the earlier podcast, he's thrown this question out to a few. Here it comes. If there were a mascot for AEFL week, what would it look like?
I think that a mascot for adult education would be a tiger. And the reason I say that is because I think we move silently through the jungle, doing what we, very methodical, doing our work, really don't cause or draw a lot of attention to ourselves. But what we do is so powerful. And I think when we move quickly and swiftly, it's important. It's significant. Mm-hmm. But that also can be a detriment when we're not out there all the time. And so that's why this week is so important, is that we're engaged that way. And our roar, I think, is important when we all collectively are using our voice. And I mean that as those of us that are in the field, but also the partners that we have in state legislators and federal government on the policy side, and vendors and research professionals, all of us. have an important impact there. So I would choose the Tiger just for those reasons.
All right, sounds great. And on that note, Patrick Brown from Michigan, from McKay, thank you so much for the good work of your organization, for all the work and the advocacy that you do personally as executive director up there in Michigan. We really appreciate you taking time to spend time with us here on today's podcast, and wish you well in all of your efforts and all of the activities that you have planned for this week. Go get them, Tiger, right?
Exactly. Thank you, Don. And
take care.
Come to visit us in lovely Michigan. We'd love to have you.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks, Patrick.